Elijah Muhammad said, justice is the weapon that God will use in the day of judgment. What makes justice a weapon is when God gives you back what you've given out. As thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword. This is that day. In your life, you got something to do to escape the chastisement of God. And you have to do something. Even though you're chosen, you've been a wretched people because you're slow to accept the fact that he chose you. He don't want you integrated into America. He told you that. He wants to separate you from your enemy and give you a land of your own. You don't want it. No matter how much hell the enemy gives you, you do not want to leave him. What will we do? What will we do? You were on the earth billions and trillions of years before he got here. Ask yourself, what did you do then? Man, if we left this cat, he would dry up and shrivel. If he don't have us, the sweetness of his own life is gone. He's in the day of judgment. How many tornadoes hit the Midwest in 3 days the other day? I think it was 72. Did you see the rain that came down? You did. What did Elijah Muhammad say over 60 years ago? What did he say? He said there would be unusual rain, unusual snow, unusual hail, and unusual earthquakes. Hail fell the other day so much that they have earth movers to move. There was like 2 or 3 feet of hail. You ain't seen nothing yet. Jesus said the worst is yet to come. Now, he said this to me, and I'm going to say it to you. He said, God is going to force the white man to treat you more and more evil every day until you get it in your mind. It's time to go. So as those 10 plagues hit Pharaoh, come on, one after another. See? Pharaoh said, oh, hell, all right, Moses, take your people and get on out of here. And then he had second thoughts. And then he sent his army to kill the children of Israel. And the God cleaned the earth of them. And you know, God raised Egypt, made her powerful because the earth did not know him. They knew him as God, but they didn't know him by his name, Jehovah. His name had to be introduced to them. And in his dying breath, according to the Holy Quran, he was forced to say, there is no God but Allah. And the magicians and the people that were the elders of Israel that were along with Pharaoh when the showdown came. When the showdown came. When the showdown came. They said, we believe in the God of Aaron and Moses. See, you don't really know the God. If you knew him, you'd act better. If you knew him, you'd be stronger. See, we all say we believe in God until we put to the test, then we start finding a way to run. Let me tell you, Jesus is as real as the sun that shines in the day and the moon that shines at night and the trillions of stars that adorn the heavens. Jesus is real. You got the real name, but you don't have the real man. Jesus was not a Caucasian. And you're going to have to accept your Jesus that don't look like your slave master. That's right. They fashioned Jesus in their image so that subtly you would be worshiping them as God beside God. You're just fearful of white people. So you think if white people came in the audience, the minister would change his tune. I would go even harder. You know why? Just to take fear out of you. You don't have nothing to be afraid of. Well, you know, they don't like it. They'll kill you, Farrakhan. Well, sure. If God permitted. If God permits it, I'll accept it. But I think he loved me a little bit more than that. See, when you know God, he reveals his arm to you. Isaiah the prophet said, to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? See, when you know the arm of God, what do you look like being afraid of a puny human that got these carnal weapons when God can take an ant and drive you to distraction? Take a bee, a flea, and make you bow. I was in the presence of a very rich white man. What did you say? You know what I'm talking about. Edgar Bronfman. Yeah, the Shenley man. Is it? Seagram's. Seagram's man. I was in his Fifth Avenue penthouse. Me and Leonard. Leonard was there. That's right. I don't let them go in front of me when I'm dealing with so-called power. When they come with me, they see that Farrakhan don't back down. He don't care who they are. And that's right. He was with me. My son was with me. I think my wife, you were there. That's right. I carried my queen. So she know her husband ain't backing down. She ain't got no punk. And you know what? Rock Newman was there. And Mike Wallace. And they offered me an op-ed page in the New York Times. I said, you can just tell the New York Times to give me an op-ed page to write on? And Mike Wallace looked at Bronfman and they laughed between each other because they know they had that juice. So he went on, you know. He said, Mr. Farrakhan, would you like a drink? I said, I said, no, sir, I don't drink. He said, but do you drink orange juice? I said, yes. He said, that's me. That's me. Because he owned Tropicana. And he said, do you like music? Do you listen to music? I said, sure. He said, that's me. He said, do you go to the movies? I said, occasionally. He said, that's me. So I said, Mr. Bronfman, I know you're a rich and powerful man, but when the God I serve gets ready to call you in, neither your wealth nor your power can keep you here one fraction of a second. So who is the real power? Did I say it, Brother Leonard? Thank you. Thank you. Then we went to dinner. And it was a lovely dinner. And I ate. Their cooks was pretty good. I didn't ask them to sample the food first. I saw them eating. I ate right along with them. But then he went back into this power talk. Because they actually feel that Negroes bow to money and power, and when they could show me more money than I had and more power than they thought that I had, I should bow. So I said again, Mr. Bronfman, there's a verse in the Holy Quran that says, if a gnat or anything smaller took a morsel of bread out of your plate, you don't have the power to call that gnat back to drop that morsel of bread back in your plate. So the Quran says, weak is the invoker, and weak is the invoked. So why should I bow to you if you don't have power to bring a gnat to your attention? And I'm bigger than a gnat. A little more of that water, please. Now we're going to end this. I said I was going to be good. As bad as I can be. So now we have to go to Washington. I need your help. I want you to go with me if you're strong enough. Now, what's the qualifier? See, we're not going there frolicking. It's not a party. We ain't going there looking for a girl or looking for a boy or looking for whatever. We're going there looking for justice. Now, let me tell you what justice looks like, and then we can go home. I think we deserve freedom, we deserve justice, we deserve equity, but we cannot build an economic independent future without some of this earth that we can call our own. They promised us 40 acres and a mule. We never got the 40 acres, and we found out that we was the mule. At the time that the promise was made, it was about nearly a little less than 5 million of us. 5 million times 40 is 200 million acres with tractors. That's a start. Did you know that that's bigger than the state of California? And now we're 50 million. See, when you add up what they owe us, and there's an article that came out recently that talked about what they really owe us, way up in the trillions when you count our labor. Now, I don't want their dollars.
No, sir.
I don't want you to give me no money. I got a little of that in my pocket. Got a few of it. Here's a $10 bill. Look at this. I'm rolling in dough. This is, who's this? Oh, yeah, this is Alexander Hamilton on a $10 bill. You see all these white faces on your money? That's their money. This ain't real, you know. This paper. Paper that's been given a value. Given a value, but it's backed by nothing. When America went off the gold standard, this becomes a promissory note. And you know the devil only promises to deceive. So you can't base your life on a promissory note. Rand Paul went to Washington recently. I'm sure you saw him. Did you see him? He said, this bubble is about to bust. Now some say, well, Rand Paul, what does he know? He sounded an alarm. He said, I'm warning you. So I called out on the Breakfast Club to my brother, Money Mayweather. I said, Brother Money, I said, man, don't you let Warren Buffett deceive you. You see that big ugly thing walking in behind him in his fight that represent Burger King? I said, man, they made you invest in Burger King? Something that's killing your people and others as we speak? And he's coming back to offer you stocks? Don't you believe that? Because just like Frank Lucas ended up with nothing, Freeway Rick ended up with nothing, most of our singers and entertainers give their life to make people happy and die ending up with nothing. Michael Jackson died telling them, I'm not going to let you treat me like you did Red Fox and Sammy Davis Jr. And he had all the Beatles catalog, and they hated him because he had something. They hate Money Mayweather. And they can't wait to deceive you, to take it away from you, so you'll be on your knees begging them, like Joe Louis was, sitting outside of a Las Vegas casino as a guest, a doorman, a greeter. Is this what you want? Hell no, we don't want that. What is our sweat and blood and sacrifice worth? Elijah Muhammad said. Think about this. We need to be separated in a state or territory of our own. And look, he's saying to the government, look, you need to help us in that state or territory for the next 20 or 25 years until we are able to go for ourselves. Wait, that's who said that? You smart man. But that's just where I was going. Don't tell me they won't do it, they can't do it. They've done it for Israel for 60 years, giving them billions of dollars every year of the taxpayers' money. And even though the economy was sick, Biden went to Israel and told them not to worry, because no matter what happens to the American economy, you're going to get what we've been giving you. Did you read that? Did you hear what he said? How much have they offered you? How much have they offered you? Say it loud. Then why should I go to Washington with you and ask for nothing? Demand nothing. No. We already got nothing. So there's a song that they sang, I got plenty of nothing. Nothing's plenty for me. I got my gal, she ain't nothing. Oh, Lord. You had enough of nothing. Let's go get something. Don't tell me they don't have it. See, and if they want to print up at the door, right next door in Washington to the Jewish Holocaust Museum is where they print the money. How close are they to that? Next door. They could print up $1 billion in a little while. But remember, it only has power if you use it quick. Because if you let it lay around, it's dwindling every day, and one day you're going to wake up and it's not worth nothing. So what we're going to ask for is land. Lots of it. Now, wait a minute. Now, perhaps they might say, you ain't getting nothing. I say, really? Let me introduce you to a scripture that's going to become real. It said, he takes the kingdom from whom he pleases, and he gives it to whom he pleases. Now, if it don't please you to give us some, he'll take it all. And that's easy for him to do. Land. And I close. Dr. King, they use my brother, try to make you think he's a dreamer. But Dr. King, I want everyone who's thinking about going to Washington to read his speeches in the last year of his life. He was not the 1950 or 63 dreamer. He was a revolutionary thinker and actor. That, Dr. King, they don't want you to know. But I have learned to love that man. I didn't follow him. I follow Elijah Muhammad then and today. But Dr. King is a very special brother. One of the best that we ever produced. I'm going to close on this. I don't want you to leave me. I've grown to love Dr. King. The Dr. King that I'm in love with is not the dreamer. The Dr. King that I'm in love with is the man that they killed because he woke up from that dream. Listen to Dr. King. He was talking to his followers at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, August 15th, 1967. It was labeled The Crisis in America's Cities. He was a great thinker. Listen to his words. He quoted Victor Hugo. These are his words. If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but he who causes the darkness. That's what Victor Hugo said. Now, coming off of that, here's what Dr. King said. The policy makers of the white society have caused the darkness, not the little white people. The policy makers, listen, they created discrimination. They created slums. They perpetuate unemployment, ignorance, and poverty. It is incontestable and deplorable that Negroes have committed crimes, but they are derivative crimes. They are born of the greater crimes of the white society. Let us say it boldly, that if the total slum violations of law by the white man over the years were calculated and were compared with the law breaking of a few days of riots, the hardened criminal would be the white man. Dr. King. The night before he died. Now I'm going to go to one more. This is 4 days before he died. No, he didn't die. 4 days before he was assassinated. He was making this speech at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. on March the 31st, 1968. Here are his words. In 1863, the Negro was told that he was free as a result of the Emancipation Proclamation being signed by Abraham Lincoln, but he was not given any land to make that freedom meaningful. It was something like keeping a person in prison for a number of years and suddenly discovering that that person is not guilty of the crime for which he was convicted. And you just go up to him and say, now you're free. But you don't give him any bus fare to get to town. You don't give him any money to get some clothes to put on his back or to get on his feet again in life. Every court of jurisprudence would rise up against this, and yet this is the very thing that our nation did to the black man. He didn't say Negro now. To the black man. Oh, he's laying it down. Let's look at this. It simply said you're free and left him there penniless, illiterate, not knowing what to do. And the irony of it all is that at the same time that the nation failed to do anything for the black man,